what's the best way to go about strength and conditioning?
The hardest part is just getting started. Same thing with jiu-jitsu, right?
Gotcha.
The hard part is just getting started and then remaining consistent.
A great point.
You work all that muscle group 2 at the end. And then after that, you do some aerobic work. You could do 20 minutes running at a decent pace. You could do 6-second all-out sprints, rest for 1 minute.
Do you think people are doing wrestling now because of the popularity of MMA?
If you're a part of the wrestling community, you wrestled like anywhere in the world, you know like how different it is, and even different from the MMA community. Obviously a lot of similarities, but the wrestling community is just very tight-knit. They always come together in like times of feuds and whatever else is going on. For me, like at that time, to draw inspiration from MMA, it's definitely been a thing for wrestlers coming up still, but wrestling on itself like holds itself up.
You look at all these guys now, right? Gable Stevenson, Bo Nickel, you know, I mean, those are obviously the top of the cream of the crop.
There's so many other guys who are like coming up who are going to be like such dominant forces.
Is that when you went to the Navy in San Diego?
So
all right, Noel, you've been interning at the PI for like a month and a half, let's say 2 months.
Yeah.
How has, and you're, you know, for strength and conditioning, kinesiology to be exact, how has your strength and training helped you with jiu-jitsu competition or just your mobility and durability in jiu-jitsu? Because I think a lot of people, they just kind of train jiu-jitsu. And it's completely fine because a lot of them are practitioners and hobbyists. But as a competitor, what particularly does strength and conditioning do for your body?
Yeah, that's a great question. As far as whether you're a competitor or hobbyist, strength and conditioning training is going to benefit you regardless. But like you kind of spoke about, maybe the competitors are the ones who are more likely to take it seriously. So with strength and conditioning training, you know, it's both implementations of like physical fitness, like the major ones, right? Resistance training, that being the traditional weights training. And then of course your cardio, your aerobic training, to make up the energy systems that we use whenever we're out there playing whatever the sport is or fighting, right?
Can you go through like, you know, because a lot of people don't know these terms. I definitely don't, to be honest. I just lift. I go to the gym and lift, but then I did that for aesthetics and vanity at first, you know, to get dates.
Don't we all?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, wait, aerobic. Can you break me down step by step about those lingos and strength and conditioning?
100%. I got you.
Yeah.
So any aerobic work is going to be your kind of traditional conditioning, right? That being like running, walking, even jogging, whatever you want to call it, sprinting, using other modalities such as like a ski erg, a rowing ergometer as well. You know, the assault bike, the stair stepper, Jacob's ladder, Versa climber, all of those tools are
these
sorry.
No. Are these like are these weighted? You know what I mean? Are these mostly like body weight exercises?
Yeah, well, all of what I just said were not the exercises themselves, but the actual like devices that you use. Like when you go to the gym and you run on the treadmill, that's aerobic work. That's like cardio work for you. You know what I mean? And you can do different kinds, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm sure you've sprinted before. I'm sure you've done longer runs before. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like those are two ways that you can train your aerobic system and your fitness, your cardiovascular fitness. How well your heart works, you know?
Yeah.
But they intertwine, but they're also like different energy systems. So you have like your alactic energy system, which just means anaerobic without oxygen. So that's like if you were to do a 6-second sprint, that would be working like your alactic.
Can you go into that detail even more? So if you're doing a 6-second sprint, that means you said out of breathing, right? Or out of oxygen. So that means that you're just sprinting without like inhaling pretty much.
Maybe it helps to think about it that way, but
yeah, I know. I'm trying to I'm trying to like understand.
No, that's my bad. I honestly didn't mean to get into this detail.
I was like, oh crap.
Yeah, I really did not.
No, but that's what we're here for. Because for me, dude, I'm complete ignorant when it comes down to, you know, all the cardiovascular stuff. Like I'll run, but I don't know the science to it. And I'm sure a lot of people don't. I'm sure they just know that running is good for them. You know what I mean? It gets you in shape, but I don't think they know like the deep science like you do. Hence, that's why we're giving people that information.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
100%. And I'm not an expert by any means. This is something that I'm trying to pour a lot of effort and energy into learning for myself right now. But to round it out, it's to finish the other two, like energy systems, right? They all work together, but they're all separate in their individual ways. So we talked about like sprinting,
yes,
anaerobic, right? Alactic work. Then there's like sprinting, but a sprint is all out, right? Sometimes you can't run all out. How are you going to sprint for 30 seconds if you're not an Olympic athlete? You know what I mean? So that starts to work our lactic system or lactate, right? So that's glycolytic. Yeah. So not to get
it's not like breastfeeding.
So it's like you're going hard, you're going at a really good pace, but it's a pace that you can sustain for like 30 to 60 seconds.
Gotcha.
Right? Okay. As opposed to 6 seconds. Completely different. Right?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then past that would be like if you ever went for a 30-minute run, that's like your aerobic work. That's like your oxidative system. So those are like the 3 ways that you can train your cardiovascular fitness or your cardio.
It's like shorter term compared to longer term, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's kind of like how quickly that your body is able to utilize the energy that it has and perform those given tasks, such as like a max effort sprint or like a hard pace, like a tempo pace if you ever did a tempo run, and then like maybe a longer run where you're not going as hard, but you're sustaining for a long period of time.
What's going on, guys? If you're enjoying this podcast, please don't forget to like the videos and subscribe to the channel. Only if you're getting value out of it on YouTube and also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to leave a rating and follow. And also, I also write a blog newsletter from what I learned from my incredible guests that I have on. So sign up for the email list and get updates on the podcast. Thank you for your love and support. Now back to the show. Gotcha. Yeah. So, by the way, we always like to start getting into it, but this is Noel. He's been interning at the PI, like I said in the beginning, for about 2 months. And you're still in school in San Diego, right?
Yeah. So I'm a master's student at Point Loma Nazarene University in San Diego.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out. Great program over there. Shout out San Diego. Love San Diego. I was stationed out there for 5 years. So, it became home to me for sure.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, and I'm going to graduate this December. And,
congratulations.
And the only thing I have left to do is to finish my master's thesis, and then defend it against my professors.
What are you going to put, like a chokehold on it?
Basically, right? Yeah. They'll basically take me into a room, have me explain the entire thing to them, and like just hound me with questions.
Yeah.
And you got to be on top of your game. And you got to be able to defend what you did, So it's kind of cool. It's like, it's a nice way to kind of end this journey that I've had in this master's program.
Are you nervous?
Probably a little bit. Yeah. I won't lie. When you care about something, you're going to be nervous, right?
For sure. I mean, it sounds like they're going to roast your ass or something.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, they're going to give you feedback, but it sounds like a roast to me.
It's pretty much a roast.
Yeah, but anyway, he also competes in jiu-jitsu pretty heavily, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so man, I think those two are literally like brothers and sisters, meaning strength and conditioning and jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there's anything better as a combination, right? I mean, what do you notice the most? The benefits that you get out of it when you are competing? Is it durability? Is it stamina? What's the best attribute that you get from doing strength and conditioning and training it?
Okay, yeah. From I'll speak from like my experience with what's happened in my own life, and then also like with the athletes that I've seen.
Sure, yeah,
right. Absolutely. So with my own life, like I started getting into lifting when I was like probably like 11 or 12 years old. My dad, we always had like a gym basement, like a gym in our basement rather. And, so I would always like be on the weights doing all these things. I would read his men's health magazines and like do the workouts in there
and
to like get prepared for wrestling. No, those were there too.
Those were there. You know what I mean?
As well. Yeah, he didn't have a great hiding spot.
Yeah. I'm sorry, man.
No, man, that was good. That was good. And so that's kind of like I started falling in love with fitness like pretty early age. I always knew it was important for wrestling. So I've always had that distinction like in my head. Like
did you wrestle?
Very young age. Yeah, I did wrestle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I started wrestling when I was like 11 years old.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll get into that and then go on with your story. Yeah,
for sure.
With your dad in the basement. Yeah.
Living with my dad in the basement. And then when I started getting close to high school, the wrestling coach had us lifting And then we would lift like every summer, like pretty hard, just like traditional, like bodybuilding style training, kind of typical of how most people get started. And it was a lot of fun. And so I always really enjoyed it. And then towards the end of high school, I started taking lifting like pretty seriously. And then, so I've had this idea for a while, and I know for myself, I can tell the difference in my strength between others just based off of how long I've been doing it. And as we know, a lot of jiu-jitsu is like pretty slow and static, right? So
yes,
if you're strong in jiu-jitsu, no matter what anybody says, it's going to help you.
Isn't that shit crazy? Like, yeah. I know I've talked about this in other podcasts, but then, you know, in jiu-jitsu, it's almost as marketed as, you know, what's great about jiu-jitsu, like smaller guys can take on bigger guys.
Yeah.
It's like, hey man, if that bigger guy has the fucking strength of a wildebeest, and all of a sudden he's going with a smaller guy with the same strength, and they both have the same like skill sets. Like, I know it's different, but let's hypothetically say they're even keel. Who do you think is going to win most of the time? You know, if they had the same skill, same style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like played at an even playing level. Not like you're using leverage, which is, you know, kind of ironic because that's what jiu-jitsu is about.
Yeah.
That's the point.
For sure.
But then, no, seriously, it's like, okay, if you got Gordon Ryan's ass on you, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of, you know, whatever, steroids, whatever. And he's that big and he's that strong. And then with the same skills, like, come on,
You're
dude.
cooked.
You're cooked.
You're cooked.
You're cooked. Yeah. But sorry, go ahead.
You're good, man. So, you know, just speaking from my own experience, I've always had it as an advantage. I've had people tell me throughout wrestling and throughout jiu-jitsu, like, you're so strong, you know what I mean? I know I'm in good shape because I put in the work in the gym to do so. And, you know, it doesn't have to be that complicated. And for a lot of the athletes that I've worked with, most of them, especially in jiu-jitsu, don't have like a traditional weight room kind of training.
Yeah,
right?
man.
Because unless you're coming from a wrestling background, most of the time people who start jiu-jitsu don't have like an athletic background. Or, I mean, they might, but like a lot of people don't. Because again, what's the main message? Like a smaller,
that's so true,
much
man.
unathletic person can, you know what I mean? It goes back to it. It feeds into it that way.
And also there's there's this thing, I don't know if it's a thing now, but it's quote unquote jiu-jitsu nerds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they smoke weed, and there's nothing wrong with smoking weed.
No.
I'm just saying they're just kind of like, they're literally nerds that grew up and then they're taking jiu-jitsu and then they get all into it, which is great. Like it's an outlet and that's what they should be doing it for. Yeah. But you know what I mean? They get all like nerdy about it.
And that is how 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu was founded.
Yes, exactly.
You know
that's also like a cliche now, right?
It is, yes.
It's like, oh yeah, you know, they get all technical with it, which again, I'm just making fun of it, but it's a great thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
100%.
But yeah, man. Yeah. So you were saying that. Your strength. Athletes. Yeah. Oh yeah. We were talking about, man, that's so fascinating. And I'm so fascinated by that subject that I'm glad you brought it up because you're right, man. I have a lot of people that come in here. Like I said, I played football and basketball. I mean, I'm 5'5", but you know, had dreams to make it to the NBA.
Let's go.
Yeah. I thought, you know, I was going to be the next Muggsy Bogues or something. At 5'3",
why not you?
5'4", why not me, bro? But a lot of athletes, including me, like growing up that played sports, dude, this is probably an obvious statement, but it translates well into martial arts just because of eye handle coordination alone.
Yeah.
You know, and strength, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you play football or if you weightlifted or wrestled, I mean, come on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that brings up like a great point, which is like a pretty overarching idea. If we're talking about like jiu-jitsu strength and conditioning specifically, which is a little bit different from MMA, but every sport is different. But in jiu-jitsu specifically, that's why it's really beneficial for a lot of these jiu-jitsu hobbyists or jiu-jitsu competitors to do their strength and conditioning and take it seriously, right? So that they can close that gap just a little bit between the people who have been doing jiu-jitsu for a long time or whatever the case may be. If someone has that much better technique than you're new to the sport, but you also have this other component where you're taking your, resistance training and cardio or aerobic work seriously, and you come in and you're in shape and you can learn and adapt quickly, then you're going to close that gap between people who either aren't taking it seriously or haven't for as long. You know what I mean? So it's just another benefit that way as well.
Yeah, that's true, man. I mean, any attribute counts.
Yeah.
Hand-eye coordination, like I said, and the strength aspect of it. I think in jiu-jitsu, again, it's more underrated just because, that smaller guy thing, you could beat someone that's, bigger than you.
Yeah.
So that's what it's like, utilize that. But yeah, man, like I noticed that even say if you're passing guard, right? A lot of people have two left feet.
Yeah.
Like they trip over themselves.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't start noticing that till probably years into my jiu-jitsu. I'm like, oh, I can kind of be light on my feet. I'm not flat-footed because of the sports that I played, right? And I picked that up right away.
Yeah.
So I think it's just such a interesting dynamic. So yeah, man, get back into your. So you started when you were a kid, so you've always had that like kind of like weightlifting, strength and conditioning background,
For sure.
right?
Yeah.
And then did your dad make you wrestle? Did you wrestle in high school? Was it?
So I started wrestling when I was 11. So I wrestled starting in like 6th grade, I think. So
Competitively?
fifth or 6th grade. Yes.
Really?
Yeah, competitively.
Wow. What got you into it, man?
The UFC.
No way. Oh,
Yeah.
well,
When
yeah.
I was a kid, I was watching the UFC, and wrestlers were dominating the sport. So like, I was like, if you want to be in the UFC, if you want to be an MMA fighter, you got to wrestle. So that's literally why I started wrestling.
You know what's so interesting about that? You said you're 28, right?
Yeah.
It's because I'll talk to like older folks, and then they usually get into MMA or jiu-jitsu because of jiu-jitsu,
Yeah.
right? Because of Hoyler,
Yeah.
right? Because they were like, oh my God, the small guy thing, you know? And the thing is that you said wrestling. That's actually the first time I've ever heard that.
Really?
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
But I think it's like since the UFC evolved, and then wrestling arguably is the most dominant combat sport in the game. I mean, I've had elite athletes come in here that does MMA, and they could argue you need wrestling takedown or some sort of wrestling. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
If you don't want to offensively wrestle in your fights, you got to be able to defensively wrestle, because someone's gonna want to offensively wrestle you and only do that sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. People have different fighting styles. You got to be ready for everything. So wrestling determines whether or not you get put on the ground. If your fence wrestling isn't good, if you're not good in the clinch, if you're not good from open space, wrestling wise, like if you're not solid there, you're at a high level, you're cooked for sure.
What kind of wrestling did you do?
Well, so I grew up here in America, so like folk style wrestling. Folk style is like the collegiate, type of wrestling, the one that everybody does growing up.
Yeah.
Freestyle and Greco are the international styles of wrestling.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And those typically in America, they're done in like your off season. Unless you're, top 5% and you're one of the like best kids in the nation, then you're probably already looking at the Olympics. So you're probably training that year round.
What's going on, guys? Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you're enjoying the show so far. I hope that you're getting a lot of value out of it. Just a quick announcement. I started a YouTube and Patreon membership for you Speakeasy Squad listeners out there. So for YouTube, just click down below to join. And also for Patreon, I'll post a link down below so that you can join for you Spotify and Apple podcast listeners out there. What you get is behind the scene footage and early access to podcasts, some pictures, photos, and whatever behind the scenes shoots that we do. So click the links down below, and all the proceeds, actually all of it goes into this podcast. So to enhance productions, to get bigger guests on, all of it. So thank you for your love and support. And now back to the show. Wait, say that again? If you're top 5%.
I just threw out the number top.
No. I like it. I like it. It's just, I was trying to process it.
Yeah. So wrestling is, a huge sport. It's still like relatively small compared to like football and stuff like that, right? But wrestling is huge, especially like back where I'm from in Ohio in the Midwest in general.
Yeah, I
like
bet.
massive sport, and it's getting big everywhere. And even women's wrestling is like growing like crazy right now. With that being said, it's very competitive, right? So, like I wasn't even top several hundred probably recruits in my like graduating class, you know what I mean? And I was still a pretty competitive wrestler.
Sure.
So I'm saying those kids who are like towards the top and they're in high school, especially these days, they're like already training that freestyle and Greco all year round because they actually have a chance at making the Olympic team when they're that young.
Yeah,
so
bro.
When I was growing up, like that was very rare. Nowadays it's becoming more and more popular, and it's smart, right? Because the rest of the world, they do freestyle and Greco all year round, and these are the guys in different countries that we have to compete against and beat if we want to win the Olympics.
Do you think that people do wrestling now at a younger age? Because that reminds me when you said that people are doing it younger, right?
Yeah.
Because not that it's really become mainstream. I guess it is because it's in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Right. But Do you think people are doing wrestling now because of the popularity of MMA, how it's evolving? Because they know they need wrestling, especially with the younger generation, right? Like what we talked about, wrestling is wrestling. But usually people just get into MMA because MMA is evolving.
Yeah.
The younger they are, when they're about 3 or 4, they start training, some sort of combat sport like jiu-jitsu. And then they transition fast into MMA, which they got all that time.
Yeah.
Especially if they're training at the right schools with high level people.
Yeah.
Which is gnarly. So what do you think it is? Is wrestling becoming more popularized because of MMA, you think?
I think...
Or do you think wrestling by itself holds itself on its own?
I think wrestling by itself holds itself on its own.
Yeah, can you get more detail?
Yeah, for sure. Like if you're a part of the wrestling community, you wrestled like anywhere in the world, like how different it is, and even different from the MMA community. Obviously a lot of similarities, but the wrestling community is just very tight knit. They always come together in like times of disputes and whatever else is going on. When they tried to get wrestling out of the Olympics, everybody fought to not let that happen.
Yeah, man.
When different Division I programs are being like shut down in wrestling, like people speak up, like it's a very big thing. So I think wrestling just kind of holds itself on its own. And, I was even talking about to you when I got started wrestling, I was like 10 or 11 years old. That sounds very young at, surface level. But if you're wrestling in the Midwest and you start at that age, you're late.
Oh, bro, yeah.
So
I could,
even back then, people were starting, their kids in wrestling back home in Ohio, when they're a baby, they can crawl on the mats, dude, you know what I'm saying?
That's basically gnarly.
Like pretty much, raised on the mats type of thing is very common. So I would say for me, like at that time to draw inspiration from MMA, it's definitely been a thing for wrestlers coming up still, but wrestling on itself like holds itself up. However, the wrestling with MMA does help a lot to influence that, and a lot more fighters or wrestlers rather are going into college wrestling with the mindset of once I'm done, I'm going to go fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, look at all these guys now, right? Gable Stevenson, Bo Nickel.
Yeah.
Those are obviously the top of the cream of the crop.
There's so many other guys who are like coming up who are going to be like such dominant forces with
exactly.
Like names that you don't even know.
But bro, okay, there's that aspect of it. Like say, like a Damian Maia, right? I know he's mostly jiu-jitsu, but Ben Askren. I mean, shit, like, I'm not anywhere near there, don't get me wrong. And I'm not like shitting. I'm shitting on his striking for sure, because I was like, whoa. But then he made it that far.
Yep.
Just with pretty much his wrestling.
Yep.
And if he didn't get hit by Masvidal with that thing, he could have went, who knows how far he could have gone to the UFC without any like formal striking.
Yeah.
Same with Ronda Rousey, right? When she got exposed with Holly Holmes, and I know she's more of a judoku type.
Yeah.
But then, dude, all grapplers, and mostly I'm talking about wrestling. I mean, damn, how far it could take you in the sport is just amazing.
Oh yeah.
Because there's such high level striking, like if you're in a match with a high level striker, and I spar with these guys from time to time, it's like you're suffocating.
Yeah.
And usually those terms go into like jiu-jitsu, right? They got you in this like crazy mount position. They're mother milking you, like no oxygen. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then in striking, it's the same damn thing. If you're hitting you up and you're getting ready to counter, they back up and then hit you up again. You're cracked. Like think about going against legends like Joe Schilling. You're dead. You're dead.
There's no hope.
There's no hope.
You can't do anything.
Yeah, and he can choose to hit you probably 40, 50% and not take your lights out and just torture you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And just hurt you.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, can you, so what happens from like 6th grade to that? You wrestled competitively.
Yeah.
And then you took it all the way from
to college.
To college, man. So what were some of your like competitions like? You were, what is it, nationals, American?
Oh yeah. Well, when I was in high school, I did pretty well. The state of Ohio was like really tough, obviously. So, I did pretty well. I got really good grades, so I was able to get recruited, which was nice. I wanted to go to college. My sister had went to college.
Like with a scholarship, sorry.
Yeah, with a scholarship, right. Exactly. Okay. No, my sister was the only one to go to college, and she dropped out. So I had like a personal goal of mine to go there and get a scholarship and kill it. I went to Liberty University my freshman year of college, and that was in Lynchburg, Virginia. And, I was looking at a lot of different schools and I didn't really know what I was doing, of course, because I was like 18 and my parents didn't really know either. So it was like kind of on me to decide. I'm not saying I made a bad decision because everything happens for a reason, but I ended up not liking it there. I enjoyed my teammates in the wrestling team, but the school as a whole, I just didn't enjoy it there. It didn't fit in.
Was it like, were the program pretty high level?
Yeah, it was. Okay. So it was a Division I program, and then they dropped it from D1, unfortunately, I believe with Title IX issues and funding issues.
Interesting.
But then, they dropped to another division in college, and they just like have dominated that division ever since. Like they get first place at nationals like every year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So they're really good.
Yeah. And then where'd you move to after that?
Back home to Ohio.
Okay.
To Kent State University.
Kent State.
Yeah.
And Kent State is known for their wrestling?
Kent State's always had a solid wrestling team. Yeah. Kent State as a whole isn't the biggest sports school, that we have, not even in the state. But it's a smaller Division I school. But it's a great school. I really enjoyed it there. I think the faculty and staff were great, and like the exercise science department. Didn't really appreciate it at the time, but retrospect,
it's hindsight's always 20/20.
Exactly, brother. You know how that goes. So,
for sure, man.
Yeah. Started wrestling there, and then I just like couldn't take it anymore, dude. Wrestling was
what do you mean, bro?
Hard. Yeah, I ended up quitting.
Interesting. After college.
Yep. Or during college.
During college, I mean, was it because it was taxing on your body? Like I know wrestling's just wrestling. I mention this all the time, man. And like I said, I used to play basketball and football. I don't, even with the gruesome football practices, what the fuck, man? Like wrestling is second to none. Just the warm ups alone.
Yeah.
And God forbid, I'm a little bit older. I'm 40 now, but then it's like, what? The warm ups alone are the training. You know what I mean?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like firemen's carrying the people. I'm like, that's crazy, man. So what was it? Was it like taking a toll on your body? Was it just scheduling?
It was honestly just like my priorities at the time. Like, I was obviously very young still. I had just moved out of state to go to college, and I was dealing with kind of like the regret of that because I felt like maybe I made a wrong choice because I ended up coming back home anyway. So I was dealing with a lot of those thoughts and emotions.
Yeah, and then you didn't know what to, you kind of regretted it.
Yeah, for
a little bit. For sure. Yeah. And then is that when you went to the Navy in San Diego?
So I didn't join the Navy until after I graduated college, actually.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it the whole time. I've always thought that I wanted to serve in the military.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about it the whole time in college, and then didn't end up joining until the summer that I graduated. So I graduated in August of 2019, and I left the week after graduating.
Looking back at it now, do you still regret quitting wrestling? Like, how far maybe it could have taken you to, since you are competing in jiu-jitsu and taking it pretty seriously.
Yeah. To be honest, I do wish I would have continued. The reasoning for that would be that I think it would have helped me to, prioritize school, keep my grades up, and, to continue to chase what I was passionate about. I ended up finding another passion in competitive powerlifting and rugby after I quit.
Oh, interesting.
After I quit wrestling, which was a lot of fun, of course, and gave me like that competitive drive.
Damn, rugby too, man. Those are fucking... that Aussie sport, man. Like, dude, those guys are fucking tough as shit too, man.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
One of the toughest guys in the world.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Love those guys.
Yeah.
So, again, no regrets, but I think it would have benefited me to at least finish out through college and, see where it takes me from there. Maybe I would have found that passion again to like start fighting at that time, or, maybe I wouldn't have, but I think that maybe it would have been a good move. But again, it led me to where I am today and the road that I had to take to bounce back from where I was to where I had fallen. I mean, it was.
Yeah, I think that's the ultimate, I guess you could say, happiness, if you want to call it that, to be able to realize it, or growth, should I say.
For sure. Growth.
To be able to realize it and then reframe it and say, well, fuck. I mean, what I'm thinking objectively is you had all those years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? From 6th grade to college. That's a lot of years.
Yeah.
Even as a kid, right? And I think even as a kid, you process it better. Mm-hmm. And then now that it's forever going to be with you. And plus you're still grappling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going back to strength and conditioning, since, that's what you specialize in.
For sure.
What's the smartest way to go about strength and conditioning?
Okay.
Yeah. If you're going to go into, let's stick with, if you're going to go into high level competition in jiu-jitsu?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try to like break this down in the simplest way that I can. And that's not so that everybody understands it. It's just to prove that it's that easy.
Sure.
You know, the hardest part is just getting started. Same thing with jiu-jitsu, right?
Gotcha.
The hard part is just getting started and then remaining consistent.
A great point.
Right? So if you're just getting into any kind of traditional strength and conditioning training whatsoever, and you want to utilize it so that you feel better during jiu-jitsu, you can, feel a bit more safe because you've taken other measures to make your body as strong and as robust as possible so that you get hurt less on the mat, hopefully, right? Start with 1 day, even just 1 day. Like I'll either start people on 1 or 2 days, depending upon where the starting point is, right? Or how long they've been away from it, or if they've ever tried it, whatever the case may be. I like to just get the ball rolling. So you can take 1 day, right? If you want to touch on a little bit of everything that's going to benefit you, it's very easy to do so. You can do your resistance training and your aerobic training, right? In one session. So, you can start the workout by raising your heart rate. And then after that, we want to like activate and mobilize our joints, right? Move anything that's feeling a little bit beat up, the common problem areas that you have as an athlete, warm up and mobilize the areas that you're going to be utilizing in the workout to come. Like if you're going to do squats, you probably got to move your hips around, right? Stuff like that.
Yes.
And then after that, you can get into like any sort of literal beginning, like plyometric, like a low level plyometric. Just think any kind of jump, basically. Any kind of jumping.
That's
right?
what plyometric is.
Yeah, that's what a plyometric is.
Oh, interesting.
Long
Okay.
story short, right?
Sure.
Moving our body weight as fast as we can using velocity with our body weight, expressing it rather. You can do that. Right after that, you can do upper or lower body plyometrics. After that, you can do a very simple template. It's as tried and true as time.
Like basics,
yeah,
right?
yeah, basic. A squat movement, a upper body push movement, so like a bench press, an upper body pull movement, like a pull-up.
Yep.
And then a lower body hinge.
And that
so
is
like that would be like when you move your hips back and you do some sort of Romanian deadlift, or you work your hamstrings with a leg curl.
Gotcha.
Right? A leg curl, leg extension, lower body push, lower body pull. Cover those grounds. Do some accessory movements. People call those different things, but that's like your smaller muscle groups that you can isolate, like biceps, triceps, your neck, your calves, your core, right? Things like that. You work all that muscle group too at the end. And then after that, you do some aerobic work. You could do 20 minutes running at a decent pace. You could do 6-second all out sprints, rest for 1 minute. These are things that, while I'm making them they sound very specific. This is like all kind of like a general, just like template that you can use. That's just easy for you to get started. And with how easy ChatGPT is accessible these days, they're not going to put strength coaches out of a job, but it is easier nowadays for anybody to at least get started. And while there is a lot of misinformation out there, there's just as much good information.
You're definitely right. But then the problem is distinguishing the good from the bad. Because a lot of people talk in absolutes, which means they're so sure of themselves.
Yes.
It's like, damn, he's so confident that I believe him. And, they look good, right?
Yeah.
They're aesthetically like built. And then you're like, how can I like argue against this guy when I don't know shit about it? Yeah, no, I like what you said about, first of all, the ChatGPT, it's the impersonal stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, you need a trainer. And I brought this up because I've been training with Evan Elder. Shout out Evan with my striking. Yeah. And damn, I didn't think I needed a trainer because, obviously I go to like, a gym that does classes and a high level gym at that.
And you coached yourself too.
And I coach myself. Yeah. And then at times, not that I never thought that I was a know-it-all. And I'm not just saying that to be like, virtuous.
I believe you.
But it's just like, oh, okay, I seem to be maintaining. I'm like, okay, that's cool. It's not like I'm competing anytime soon, right? Mm-hmm. But then when I started training with Evan, oh crap, just the finer details that he told me, even that day when we were at the PI, when we were training him, well, we the week prior, I had a training session with him. Even just like, he's like, yeah, your spine has to be aligned. Like in order for you, it can't be just separate limbs you throwing it. I know, obviously you understand to move your hip when you punch, right? But then he was like, it doesn't even stop there. You have to move your body as a whole, with your spine aligned and then your butt kind of out and you're planted to the ground. I'm like, this is crazy, man. It just like blew my mind, you know? And I've been striking for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, he trains with the likes of like Joe Schilling and shit. I'm like, dude, I'm taking your word for it. And he's a UFC lightweight. So I was like, I'm taking your word for it all day, bro.
Yeah.
And then I've been training it at the gym, game changer. That's why, you know, that's my point is that I don't even think Chat GPT can take over that.
No.
There is no way.
No
man.
way.
Yeah. So with wrestling, man, let's move on to, this is kind of a general question, but then how has wrestling really stepped up? You're like one of those guys that when you first start jiu-jitsu that I fucking hate. And mostly I'm sure everyone does.
Yes.
You're like, man, I've been doing jiu-jitsu for like 6 years and then this guy comes in. He's holding
high school wrestler.
He's holding me down and I can't get up.
Messes your life up.
Yeah, it's like, dude.
We've all been there. Even the guys who come from a wrestling background have been there.
My
There's always
God.
someone who's a little bit better wrestler than you know what I mean?
Yeah. It just hurts the ego
yeah.
so much.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I still got tapped out like 6 times in 5 minutes my first day. You know what I mean? But like, I could take everybody down and it was not
Oh,
hard.
I bet.
You know, because all you know is that wrestling. Like, I would argue my wrestling has improved a ton, even starting through jiu-jitsu. But in a way, my wrestling was better when I knew no jiu-jitsu.
Right, right.
A lot of wrestlers feel the same way about this.
Is it because you're expending too much thinking about jiu-jitsu? And not just wrestling? You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes and no. I think it's because you don't know what you don't know, right? So you're ignorant of a lot of stuff. So you're just wrestling, just using all the basic principles you learned in wrestling. But then as you start to actually understand and know jiu-jitsu and practice it more, your wrestling typically will start to like die down aggression wise. Specific takedowns that you might used to hit all the time in wrestling don't apply anymore. There's no shoes. You're not that low in your stance. You know what I mean? You have to make a lot of adaptations to your game. And if you're somebody who had really good success in wrestling, but the type of takedowns you were hitting are not beneficial for jiu-jitsu, then you have to adapt and become good at other things. So your wrestling style changes.
But is that specific to if you were just doing jiu-jitsu? Because if you're still like a high competitive young athlete, right?
Yeah.
You're still training wrestling at the same time with jiu-jitsu. So do you think, so that's why I kind of go back to it and say, do you think you're expending too much at both specializations? Is that why? Because I know a lot of people, like say at Syndicate, right?
Yeah.
People go to ATC, people are high school wrestlers while doing jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
So they're still doing the same. I mean, they're still getting those drills in wrestling. So, you know, and it's like riding a bike, right?
Yeah.
Like you never lose it. But do you think it's, again, like the focus of it? It's because you're purely focused on wrestling when you're just wrestling?
That and like, not to get into too much detail about
No,
this,
go ahead, man.
but,
Go
it's
ape shit.
basically, yeah. Because like, I mean, sometimes the exact opposite is going to be true as well, right? It goes back to the same thing that it's kind of like a theme we keep bringing up is like, you know, you don't know everything and there's a lot of different ways to get the same job accomplished, especially like within this realm of combat sports and strength and conditioning and everything. But wrestling, like, for example, I did a wrestling tournament like not that long ago, like a pure wrestling tournament for the first time in like 6 years, 7 years, something like that, something crazy. So the main thing I noticed was that I was a little slow because I'm not used to that wrestling pace. I'm not used to that wrestling timing. These are things that are specific to wrestling because it's done in a different dynamic. It's done, the body mechanics are different. The biomechanics are different. Like wrestlers, they're very low to the ground. The hand fight's very short and choppy. You can do low shots. You can, you know, do shots where you barely get the leg. You'd have stalemates. Like there's a lot of different speculations that come with like a pure wrestling training and competition versus
like certain nuances, subtle differences.
Yeah, for sure. Subtle differences that make, again, enough of a big difference if you're trying to adjust the one style versus the other. However, people who are doing both, that's fantastic. That's like best case scenario that you're like doing pure wrestling training and also, and that's becoming more popular in jiu-jitsu because people understand how important wrestling is in MMA and especially in jiu-jitsu as well. So a lot of different jiu-jitsu schools either have like a pure wrestling class or people are going out and seeking wrestling coaches or going to like ATC and stuff like that, right? So that they can actually get that pure wrestling training. Because if you're removed from that training, like you don't do that type of training anymore, your wrestling will in a way get worse. And I wish I could put it in a different way because that's not going to be true for everybody, but I think to a certain, I don't want to make like a definite statement, but I think to a certain extent that's completely true. It's just because you're going from a different style of wrestling. You're going from that pure wrestling that has all of these different things that we've talked about to like now wrestling for a different purpose. It just takes away a little bit. You know what I mean?
I completely understand. Yeah. It's way different. You're inside looking in. Like, you know what I mean? When you're in it, you could definitely see the subtle differences. Grappling isn't just grappling. You know, there's wrestling, grappling. It's everything. Yeah. And I love the fact that you brought up you need wrestling like to get into like, you know, high level jiu-jitsu competition, because every fight again starts standing up, right? I know that nowadays, right? And I'm sure it's been happening, but then it's been getting more exposed, I guess, is the butt scooting thing. Yeah. It's kind of like, dude, if you do that, like, you know, and then there's that argument of now, I think what's putting a little bit of heat into it is that you're kind of a pussy if you do that, you know, and you're making jujitsu not effective. And like, say, if you have to defend yourself, I think it's true. If you have, and this might be a little bit off tangent, but then if you're a really good striker and then you do really good jiu-jitsu really, really well, but then you don't have any takedowns, you're done for, man. Yeah. I think so. I mean, okay, you can feint and bait me into, right, getting maybe a takedown. But then if we're comparing, if you got like a hardcore boxer or something that's heavy on his foot and stays low, and then, I don't know, man, like try coming in on him, you know, that's a whole debate within itself. That's why I said I'm probably going off on a different tangent, but then I'm just saying that knowing that if you don't have any takedowns, right? If you purely are starting from the ground, then you're grappling and the other guy can't hit you. I don't know how you'd like get close to the guy. For sure. You know what I mean? Without shooting a shot, feinting and then shooting a shot. I mean, what do you think about that, man? Yeah, so there's that. This is obviously a very common discussion amongst the jiu-jitsu community. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. Let me hear Noel's point, dude.
This is what I will say. I think there's a few different points to be made here. Okay. One of them is the first and foremost is like sport jiu-jitsu is like different from like
absolutely
actually utilizing the martial art to defend yourself or utilizing it in MMA
and competition whatever, too. Right?
It's context dependent, like everything. Mm-hmm. If you feel comfortable playing guard, you have a good guard, you don't feel like you either have the skill or have the energy to stand up and wrestle until somebody gets taken down, and you rather try to sit down and pull yourself into an advantageous position by getting good grips, by all means do it. If you do that forever and consistently ignore making any technical improvements within your wrestling or stand-up game, then like you're just cheating yourself out of a whole nother part of the sport that you claim to love, right? So there's a difference between like, this is my strategy, I feel comfortable here and I have good attacks from here. And if I have to stand up and wrestle, for example, in ADCC, when you go into overtime, you can't pull guard. So people need to know how to wrestle. And that's another reason it's becoming more popular is because ADCC is the most popular tournament to do. So if you're not, you know, actively trying to make that like a strength of yours or something that's at least competent enough where like a loophole in that overtime is like, say I shoot a shot on you and I try to get that shot for like 3 full seconds. Like I'm trying so hard to take you down. And then I pull guard off of that, then there's no penalty and you can play guard for the rest of overtime.
No, yeah. It's just, I know it's like a very heated, like, it's not even heated, but it's just a discussion, right?
It's funny, man, because it's like, you know, you see the videos are super popular, right? Of like, they slap bump in the middle of at the start of a match and then one of them pulls guard and the other guy's like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If you're signing up for a sport jiu-jitsu tournament, people are going to pull guard. There are people who aren't going to wrestle you, especially if they know that you're a good wrestler. If you look like it, which all of us do, we're short.
It's like guerrilla warfare.
We have crazy cauliflower ear. You can really, you can spot a wrestler pretty easily. Sure. You know what I mean? So if they want to pull guard against you, they're going to do that. And you need to know how to pass guard. You can't like sit there and complain about it because they're able to play guard under those rules, right? So you got to pass their guard. You can't just like back up or like make fun of them or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because you can't, now that I think about it, you can't really knock on people because of why they do the sport for. They're playing within that market, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like business.
Mhm.
It's kind of like, well, you have to test the market. You have to play. I'm saying like you have to play the rules within that market to see what works.
Yeah.
It's not like you could do anything you want. So if you're in like say a rule set of IBJJF or ADCC, you can't go around kicking people.
No.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, you can't do it. But to dumb it down even more, it's you just have to play within the rule sets. Like you can butt scoot and there's no consequences. It's not like they're saying, get up, you fuck biatch. You know what I mean?
The crowd might, but the ref won't say it.
Exactly.
Probably.
And look, here's the other thought of it is that if you're in competition, most likely you're trying to make a name for yourself. So you're thinking wins.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two is that if there's a big prize money involved, you're probably just trying to win that and you don't give a fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're trying to make a living over here. So that's why you can't really knock those people. I understand why they do it. But as a whole, like subjectively, everyone has their belief.
Yeah.
And for me, when I train jiu-jitsu, it's practicality.
For sure.
Listen, I never wrestled, but I do attempt it.
Yeah.
And I've done MMA and like practiced MMA, and wrestling is fucking hard, man.
It is.
I think most people, if you don't train wrestling, like say in college, and you don't completely love it, they fucking hate it. I know I do. I'm like, dude, this sucks. Let's just get back to striking.
If you're not used to the demands that like wrestling, like at a high pace, like places on you, you're gonna feel like you can't breathe. You know what I mean? Your arms are gonna be dead. Your legs are gonna be dead. Your lower back's cooked. Your neck hurts. Like,
oh my God.
If you're not used to that or you haven't been exposed to it before, and you kind of like just go right into it like pretty hard, then you're gonna be like, wrestling sucks. Like, who wants to do this,
bro?
Yeah.
Even the drill, like I said, even the drills that they have you do, like we were doing at Syndicate, right?
Yeah.
We were doing this thing where we had to. Okay, shout out Teddy. We were in the middle, and then two guys were on separate sides. We had to run. We had to sprint. Take them down and then run again, take them down. And that sounds like a bitch drill. I understand. Like, you know what I mean? Like, to me, I was like, what the fuck is this? I was like, dude, I can't, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
I mean, we got through it, but it was like, damn. Yeah, that was just it. You were sprinting and then with resistance too. It's not like the guy was just standing there to take me down. Mm-hmm. You literally were trying to take him down. He was defending. And then after you took him down, you had to go back, do a sprint, and then take the other guy down on the other side of the wall. I'm like, damn, this is like no joke. That's what I mean. Yeah. I was like, give me the two-a-days. Give me the two-a-days in football, bro. That's interesting, man. Yeah. So let's talk about your jiu-jitsu career, bro.
Yeah.
What got you into competition, man? First of all, what got you into like the whole jiu-jitsu what got you into the whole competition game?
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, I had like quit wrestling in college, right? And then I picked up powerlifting and rugby. So I didn't do any combat sports training besides like hitting the bag every once in a while, like almost 5 years, which of course now I'm like, damn, I wish I was training, but it's all good. I found it at a time for a reason. It was
actually your time, bro. You know what I mean? It wasn't that like a season of your life.
Exactly. And actually, like my father had passed away.
I'm sorry. Man.
Like while I was on deployment, and so I was like going through some tough times, man. And dude, I had known about jiu-jitsu and UFC and MMA for long, and when I was younger, I couldn't afford it. I like tried, and I'm still so surprised that at one point it feels like it left my life. Like aside from like watching, because I still always watch UFC fights pretty much regardless. But, I would go through different seasons of really being into it and then really not. But it was always like kind of present. But for a while there, it was like a little bit non-existent. So it was weird, like looking back on it now, especially with how big it is in my life now. But then as soon as I started training jiu-jitsu, so I was like, all right, I want to get back into training some sort of martial art, get back into training jiu-jitsu, and immediately really enjoyed it. Forgot how much I had enjoyed it. And then, of course, I was like, okay, I want to compete, because why not?
Yeah.
And so I started competing like a couple months in. And I actually tore my ACL my first jiu-jitsu tournament.
Oh, really? What Naga?
An awful way to start.
Was it?
It was a grappling X.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, dude. And
no way.
Yeah. It was like my second match. and me and the kid were wrestling, and he went for like an ogoshi.
And what is that? What is it?
That's like kind of what Justin Flores. If I mess this up, I'm so sorry. You taught me well. I'm just not remembering. That's when that kind of John Jones takedown where he reaps the leg and kind of throws you down. You
Oh, interesting.
One? Yeah.
Yeah.
So he tried that on me and my leg just like didn't move, but my freaking...
Your body did.
Yeah.
Yeah. It locked in your body.
See literally it just like disconnect.
Oh.
Like my tibia just like go flying forward.
No way.
Yeah. And then I did 3 more matches after that with the torn ACL because I thought that maybe it wasn't a significant injury.
Wait, was it, when that happened, was it painful?
Oh yeah, it was very painful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, really?
I was like, they like stopped the match for a second, then I came back and then I did 3 more matches.
No way.
Yeah. And then the next day I couldn't walk.
Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, at least you made the most out of it.
Yeah, for sure. No, it was great. It was a good day. Got the surgery and went back to competing like 8 months after. So I got right back into it. I had like a really good year. Like when I got my blue belt, I had like, I think I was like 30 and like 10 or something, like 35 and 10.
Wait, what do you mean? Like
wins, losses.
Dude, you already had that many matches by then?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why I was surprised when you said those numbers. I was like, wait, 35 and 10.
Yeah, that was like in the 1 year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I went crazy.
Damn, you went ham.
I just competed as much as I could. You know, I had like enough time to be able to do so. Like when I was getting ready to separate from the Navy, and then when I was like starting my job at Electrum and starting my job at the school, like my schedule started opening up to where I could like figure out ways to train more, compete more and more.
Where do you think you got that toughness from, man? Because that's a rough one, dude. To be able to tear your ACL, go back 3 matches, and I thought you meant go back like the next competition for that, but you went back for 3 more matches after that.
Yeah.
And then 8 months later, you came back, and then what is it, 35 and...
Like 35 and 10 or something like
and
that.
10 or something? Yeah. Damn, where do you think you got that from Navy or just growing up?
Probably just growing up.
Or wrestling?
Probably a combination of all of that.
Damn,
you know what I mean?
Dude, that's...
yeah, I think most of the like inspiration comes from like my dad because he was just like a constant symbol of like what hard work was. You know?
Right.
Ran his own business, dropped out of high school, went back, got his GED, went to community college, got his associates, you know, like real estate license, life insurance agent. Yeah. He worked supply for like an airline, and then he had his own he was a contractor, so he did like concrete, waterproofing, roofing, like all of that stuff. Like crazy amount of work for one human being to do. And I think that was just like instilled in me from a young age.
Yeah.
I was just like, you know, nah, you gotta work for it. So if you get injured and you want to come back and you don't want to just like be sad all the time, that's gonna happen though.
That's true. Injured. I mean, that's very admirable, man. You know that's one thing that sticks out to me. That's why I like talking to people on this podcast, because it's stuff like that. You don't hear that every day, you know, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's just like, wait, what? You tore ACL? And then when you said that, that's why I had to be like, wait, hold on. You know, I had to pause real quick. I'm like, wait, you went back 3 matches. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I could walk. So I was like, all right, I can go.
Yeah, you know? That's like Kobe Bryant tearing his ACL and going back for a free throw, bro.
Maybe not the same thing, but.
I mean, it kind of is, honestly.
Okay, I'll take the compliment.
Yeah. I'm not saying you're Kobe Bryant, bro. Chill out. But yeah, man. So where are you at now in like your journey? I know you're taking it pretty hard, and with the strength and conditioning background and the wrestling background, damn, dude, that's a triple threat right there with your jiu-jitsu experience too. Mm-hmm. So where are you going from here, bro?
Yeah, man. It's a grind for sure. You know, coaching with athletes all day. You gotta be very selfless. It's about what they need.
Yeah, dude.
It's about what they need, not what you need.
You know what's interesting? And sorry to cut you off.
Oh, you're fine.
But then, you know, one of our jiu-jitsu coaches, one of our head jiu-jitsu coaches, Shane.
Shout out Shane
Shapiro. I just talked to him on a podcast probably 2 episodes ago, and then if you listen to that podcast, for you guys over there, listen to it, because he said the same thing. He ramped up his coaching. Now he's coaching just like high level pros. And when I say ramped up, I mean, he's doing it all the time.
Yeah.
And he said the exact same thing, where you have to be selfless, right? Because you want to train yourself. You're like, okay, I can only imagine that it's like, wait, I'm getting my training taken away by training other people, right?
Yeah.
But then there's also like gratitude in that.
For sure.
There's also, you're doing a service for other people, especially for high level athletes like what you're doing. So let's get into that, man. Talk more about that, about like, how did you feel at first when you started doing that? Because you were making sacrifices, right?
Yeah.
With your own training and your time even.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that's your career.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's opportunity cost. You could be spending the time to get better. And how do you feel?
I can talk about that because that's just definitely something that I struggle with.
It's human nature, I think.
Exactly. It's going to be present like throughout the entire time that I'm doing all this, So in San Diego, my life, my schedule compared to what it was right now is completely different. I would coach early in the morning, and then I would train right after coaching, like early morning, early afternoon. I would do like, a gi, a no gi, and then a grappling, like wrestling class, and then have the rest and then coach after that. So basically I had time to train with all the pros in the morning, and then I had time to do my strength and conditioning and then coach my clients and do my work. And like the schedule is very different. Now it's like I have to wake up really early in the morning to get my S&C in before work. I coach the athletes all day.
Your own SNC, you mean?
Yeah, my own.
Okay,
SNC.
okay. Not training other.
No, not training other. I have to wake up in the early morning.
What time?
Do that. I mean,
I'm always curious about the time.
When I was a graduate assistant at Point Loma, I had to wake up like 4:15 a.m. But now it's not that bad actually. I have to just make sure I'm in the gym by like 6:30.
Fucking fascinating, because, bro, I think so. Usually, I wanted to kind of compare it because usually I'm on this kick to where I'm now waking up at 5 a.m.
Nice.
But before it was like 7. You know what I mean? And then now that I think about it, and trust me, it's quite an adjustment, just those 2 hours alone, right? But then since what I do, and I put a lot more on my plate as well, kind of like coaching someone, but then it's just, there's so many things that I have to do in my own personal life that you need the time, right?
Yeah.
Damn, it's such a big shift. You get a lot more done, man. And it's only 10 a.m. by the time, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So what's your routine like? I'm very fascinated in
routine now.
Yeah, like what time do you wake up?
Sure.
So you
So I wake up around 6. If I am working out that morning, because I'll do like every other day, then I will leave the house by like 6:15, 6:30.
Yeah.
And then get to the gym, do my own S&C, and then shower and get ready for the day. Around 8 a.m., I start looking at, the athletes that we have at 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. and start setting up for their lifts and everything. And then from 9 until 12, I'll coach. From 12 until 12:45, I have my lunch break. And then from 12:45 until about 5 p.m., coach again. And then, be cleaned up and done with work by 5:30. And then I go to jiu-jitsu at 6. And then I'll
AM?
PM.
Oh, PM. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
You wake up at 6. Yeah, I'm like...
get jiu-jitsu at 6 p.m., get home by like 8. And then I'll like do whatever work I need to do. Or if I have the time, I'll just relax. I'll read and spend time with my wife. And then go to sleep and I'll do it the next day.
Damn,
On the days that I don't lift and I wake up in the morning, I'll either go for a run or I'll just take the extra time to recover and sleep more.
Interesting. So you wake up at 6. Wait, you wake up at 6 and then you're out of the house by 6:30?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a pretty quick transition.
Well, I was in the military, so.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
I can get up and get dressed in 5 minutes and be ready to leave. Yeah.
Sometimes, man, I overdo it too much. But then it's my morning routine. I got to have my coffee, bro. You know what I mean? Then I write in a journal.
A longer morning routine is like, I think, awesome. Like, I personally will not get up early enough to do it. I used to be like that. I used to be like that, but I can't do that right now. I have to take the extra sleep when I can get it. Yeah,
it's great. Well, because it's like a thing, right? Some people like have to meditate before they got to go do their thing. I write personally because I do blogs and then,
Oh, nice. I got to read your blog.
Yeah, I mean, all it is the lessons I've learned from this podcast, right? Okay. From people like John Wood when it comes to business, or Jerry Shapiro or something. I'll write down like one thing I learned from them. But yeah, just like writing, man, nothing puts me in a better flow state than, because you have to focus on what you're writing. You can't focus, just like jiu-jitsu, right? You're in competition, you ain't thinking about anything else.
You gotta be locked in.
You gotta be locked in, bro. Yeah. So what's your next competition, bro?
So I'm trying to do a competition between now and ADCC East Coast Trials. The East Coast Trials will be in November. So hopefully I can hit like 1 or 2 competitions between now and then. And then I'll fly to Orlando and compete at the trials. So I'm pretty excited about that.
That is cool. And you were telling me that it was your first ADCC trials.
Yeah, it will be my first trials. I haven't done the trials before. I've done a lot of opens. I've done very well at the opens. I've consistently like either medaled or gotten close to medaling.
Yes.
Like typically within, if I'm not in the semifinals, I'm in the consolation semifinals, you know, of like the intermediate and advanced brackets. So, you know, pretty competitive in that rule set. I like that rule set a lot. And so I'm really looking forward to it. It's huge. Everybody who competes, everybody who's like a serious competitor will be there competing. So, you know, it's the best guys in the country. So I'm really excited for that. I just love the opportunity to go and do something like that. Cause like what a blessing it is to be able to like go and like test myself against guys who are like, this is all they do, you know?
I mean, talk about that, dude. That's like, you're now in probably not even the 0.999. It's like the point, you know, 1 point like 5 of competing in the trials. And that also intrigues me because of outliers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
It's not like, even with people that go to the gym, since we're surrounded by it, sometimes I think it's like, oh, everyone goes to the gym. No, it's not. It's like 5% of like America that goes to the gym, like statistics like that.
Yeah.
But even dumb it down to like something like the ADCC trials, it's like, okay, how many people are actually, you know, doing
honestly
that?
Never thought about it like that. Yeah, because we're in our own little bubble, right?
Exactly.
Like I just said, it's huge, you know. And but that puts into perspective, bro.
Right. It puts it, and then you kind of trickle up from there, right? Strength and conditioning for the PI who really like, you know what I mean? That puts you. It's like that's amazing because now we're. I think it's like homeostasis. Like you just. If you go around the PI, you see high-level athletes all the time.
It's crazy.
You know, I went there and then stand alone. I saw Cody Garbrandt, fucking Johnny Walker. You know what I mean? I'm like, they're just chilling.
They're just hanging out.
They're just hanging out, you know? So I thought that was pretty cool. But, you know, I go to Syndicate, I see the likes of Marab, and fuck, it's amazing. But then you see him all the time. It's like...
I know. It's like becoming weird that like Marab's a frequent training partner of mine. Like how does that even make any sense? You know, that's
exactly.
Crazy to me, you know, and the fact that I get to help train these athletes, right? Because I'm helping the coaching staff there out, and they're an amazing staff, and they really, really care, and they're doing a great job. It's an honor to work with them and just to see them work as well. Like I have a lot of great mentors now in the strength and conditioning field because of these guys. And I think I've done a decent job of like holding myself, you know, but like, it's just so amazing that I get to help train those guys like a Cody or like a Brandon Moreno or Alexa Grasso or like any of the, it's a blessing to treat any of these guys and girls on the roster, but like knowing I'm training people who are like a part of history, like Moreno and Grasso specifically, like that's incredible just to be able to like even be there in that room while they're like doing that for me is like a massive honor. So I take it with a lot of like, I treat it with a lot of respect, and it really means a great deal to me. So I'm very prideful of just being able to work there in general.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. And man, that's coming from the heart because I, honestly, not being in the strength and conditioning, I could just see how it's a well-oiled machine. I mean, that's why it fascinates me so much. And honestly, to be transparent with you, that's why I ask you to be on as a guest, because it's a high like level facility to be training athletes. I mean, they don't fuck around over there. They got the most high tech gear. They got the best people in there, you know, hence again, you know, that's credit to you. It's like when I watched their trainers train, I was talking to Bobby, you know, from like he was doing massages and stuff like that. And the physical therapist. And the stuff that he was explaining me was like next level, what he does over there. I'm like, what? You know, he was explaining me the ultrasound kind of, all that stuff. And look, I don't know anything about that. I'm sure I'm not like equipped to know that. Like I haven't had any formal training, but then I just know like with people's demeanors, it's like, damn, this is the top of the cream of the crop.
Yeah. Kind
of like, you know, the PI is, they got high level strength and conditioning, you know, coaches, which you're on your way to, you know, you're learning as you go. A lot of them train themselves. So they're not like armchair quarterbacks. Like they actually know how the body works. You know what I mean? Training with the high level athletes that you said. I mean, quick anecdotal story, even Evan Elder, when he was personally training me at Iridium. He was talking about Brandon Moreno. I was like, that guy's next level. Like as far as when it comes to MMA.
Yeah.
And you know, Evan Elders in the UFC is a lightweight, and then he's talking about Brandon Moreno. Like, dude, there are levels. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. So you got the ADCC trials, and then where do you go from here, man? What's your goal in your whole jiu-jitsu journey? Like your overall like goal, since you're going to the trials, that's high fucking level. And where do you go from there, man, after that?
For sure. I honestly just want to see how far I can take it. I feel like going back and talking about how we said, you know, like maybe I wish I would have kept wrestling type of thing. Sometimes
could have, would have,
like,
should have though, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, well, I'm doing this now. Let's see how far I can take it now.
Yeah.
So no regrets on that. I would love to make my MMA debut either the end of this year or early next year.
Really?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Damn.
Yeah. It's for a few reasons. I don't want to grow old and say I never did it.
There you go.
And also, I really want to work with these athletes for the rest of my life and want to become one of the greatest minds in MMA strength and conditioning. So
yeah,
I got to get in there.
I legit, damn, I felt that one, man. You know, like, I mean, I was like, I know you're going to, man.
Yeah.
You got me sold.
I want to see how far I can take it, man.
Yeah. And that goes with like a master class of like what you're doing, right? Overall strength and conditioning that helps your career out and, you know, all that. And dude, why not?
Yeah.
It's like you have all these advantages, your environment alone. You're in the fight capital of the world. You work at the PI. Like, you have everything going for that, you know? Even with this podcast, I train in one of the best gyms in the world. I mean, shit, like, you're literally, I mean, use what you got around you, bro.
Yes, sir.
But man, yo, any last words for, let's say, wrestling, or, you know, people competing, man? Any tips, advice, strength and conditioning overall of what you've learned?
Man, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I would say, like, you know, it might take some time to find what you're passionate about, but don't stop searching. And once you find it, just give it your all, you know, no regrets, run full force into it. Like, figure out everything you can about whatever it is, learn more about it, practice it every day, strive for improvement, set goals. I know that that's a lot of stuff, but like, find that thing, you know, keep searching for it and try other stuff along the way. Don't keep searching for the perfect thing to do and then never do anything. Like, just try different stuff. I tried a bunch of different stuff. I used to bartend. I used to, coach at the collegiate level. I've coached at the professional level, the private level. I've competed in wrestling, you know, like these different things. I just tried all of these different things, joined the Navy. I was a flight deck electrician, you know. It took me a while to find my way and like what I felt was right for me and what I wanted to like wake up every day and give effort to. And I'm only 28 years old, but like,
yeah, man, you
know, I mean, we could be having this conversation in 10 years. I might be doing something completely different. I don't think so, but you know, I could be.
Absolutely.
You know
man.
what I'm saying?
Why not?
That's how I like to approach life and think about it. So I guess that if I had to replicate something to the audience, I'd say something like that.
Yeah, and to piggyback on that, what we were talking about earlier is that you don't realize that when you're going through it, right? No. We always talk about hindsight's on 2020. It really is. So if you're doing something hard, and then don't just quit it, because eventually you'll learn from like your mistakes, even though you're not doing what you thought you were going to be doing at that time.
Exactly.
You're probably thinking like, oh, it was good for me to not do that, and then in retrospect, it's kind of like, yeah, you know, I ended up where I ended up, hopefully in a good place. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just keep doing what you're doing because, again, in retrospect, you will figure out that it was a blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect, man. I appreciate your time, Noel.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.